Alright, in order to map a controller in Djay Pro AI, the controller has to be plugged into the iPad so we can access the MIDI mapping menu. So I'm going to be using a mouse. It's right here in the middle. So you can see wherever I point and whatever buttons and knobs I'm using so you guys can follow along and learn. Now we press the middle button over here and this brings up our settings menu. A quick thing is you might see that hardware mode is on if you haven't plugged in the controller since the new update. And this is just a different way of, they organized the app a little bit differently, supposedly to be easier for when you're using a controller. But I personally do not like it. So if you want to turn it off, you can turn it off with this slider here, only when a controller is plugged in. Now we're going to press the middle button, go down to settings, and then we're going to MIDI devices. So this is where you're going to have access to adjust and change things involving controllers. Also, if you're using a Bluetooth controller and you're looking for how to connect it, it's going to be in this menu as well. So it recognizes the controller Djay touch. So now when we click on the controller, it's going to open this menu. So if you go over to the MIDI configuration, you guys could set different controller mappings and save them. So you could have one for scratching, you could have one for EDM, one for hip hop, and you could very quickly within this menu switch from the built-in one to the one that you created. It does take up a lot of space on your iPad, so I had to delete a lot, so keep that in mind as well. All right. So this is what we're going to be using. This is the menu we're going to be using to map the controller. So if you're wondering, how do I know which button or knob I'm mapping? They make it really, really simple. So for this example, I'm going to turn the volume knobs on this Djay touch into filters. So like I say in a lot of my videos, the best part about DJing with the iPad compared to a laptop is not only are we limited to the controller we're using, but we can use the iPad for whatever we want. So most people are used to using the volume sliders, so sliding up and down. This is really the only type of controller, these mini controllers, that have these volume kind of knobs. So we are going to use the volume slider on the iPad for the volume because it works perfectly. And everybody needs a filter when they DJ, and the filter's kind of hard to use the touchscreen because it's not really a knob. So here we go. So let's go back. Going back to MIDI device setup. Opening the controller. Here we are. So now this volume. So as soon as you press it, it says target is mixer. Action is deck 2 line volume. So what we want to do is we want to press this. So now it's going to show all of these stuff that you can map. So we're going to go down. So if you don't find what you're looking for in this menu, because I don't find filter, you don't find effects, we have to change the target. So now we go to target, and then this is going to be deck 2. And now we are in deck 2, and then now we get all of these options. So if you were looking for stuff that wasn't there, you have to change the target. Now we are going to go to effects, filter. Okay. And then press save. Make sure you press save so you save. Press save. Done. So now if we look over here, if you look at the screen down here, this is controlling our filter. So a lot of times if you want to mix, you could do a high pass filter, do some great transitions with the filter. A lot of people use filters all the time. So now we have the filter mapped into this controller. So now instead of it being a weird volume knob, it is a perfectly working high pass and low pass filter. And then we have the volume over here. So the way I have this controller set up usually is I'll have the controller there, iPad right in front of it. So if I want to do the volume, I could do the volume. And now I got a filter. So that is how you map a knob. And you can map it with pretty much anything. The knobs and buttons have different things that you can map. So let's go back over. So now this is the filter. And then to do it on the other one, we're going to go, you just press or turn the knob that you want to configure. And then we're going to deck 1, action, filter, save. So now both of these knobs are filters. It's really that simple, really that easily. It's not a whole big project. If you guys want to, you could even do it while you're DJing. If your controller, if you're like, oh, I need an effect, I need another filter or something, you could do it while you're DJing, really quick and really easily. So that, I think that's really cool. So we're gonna go down to the MIDI mapping again. So what happens if you want to map a button? So we're gonna go over here. So this controller is a small controller. There's a lot of these small kind of strip controllers out there, and you're limited because they're small, so you don't have that much buttons. So this doesn't have any way of using effects. But what it does have is these headphone buttons. So within the app, when you move the crossfader to one side, it automatically puts the headphones on the deck that you're not using. So there's absolutely no reason to have these headphone buttons. But let's add an effect. So target is going to be deck 2. And then the action, and then we're going to press the action. So target is deck 2, so it's going to control deck 2. The action is, we're going to go down here, go all the way down, all the way down. FX. So we are going to do FX1 enable. Save. So we have FX1 enabled. And now let's just do the other one quick. So we're on deck 1, target, deck 1, action, all the way down. FX1 enabled. So now it's saved. So now we have a choice just how you would select any type of effect. You just go down here where it's to your effect. If you don't see this screen, go on the bottom screen over here, narrow mix, Q, loop, FX. So now we are in our FX, and then we open this menu up, and we can choose that. This app has a lot of effects, so we're gonna just put echo to make it simple, and we got an echo. So now when you're using the app and you press this button with the controller plugged in, boom, you turned on an echo. And then same thing with the other side. So there you go. We went from having a controller that was missing effects, which could really make DJing frustrating, to a controller that now has effects and filters. So if we go over here back to our audio device, back to our MIDI devices, click on this. So now so we go over here to MIDI devices, we press the controller, and then if you go over here to MIDI configuration, it's going to show you the one that you are working on now. So we're going to edit this one. We're going to edit that one, rename. So it's going to be Newmark Djay Touch. And then let's just do, for this example, EDM. Rename. And there you go. Up here is Newmark Djay Touch EDM. Done. So now, whenever you plug in the controller, whenever you first plug in the controller, so let's unplug the controller, plug the controller back in, make sure it's on. All right, we're going to go over here, MIDI devices, And then now we could choose EDM. So if you feel like DJ and EDM, you could switch into that menu. If you want to make other configurations for other types of music, you can. And then you can go and switch throughout them during one DJ gig. Maybe you're going to start with hip hop and then go to EDM. So you could switch the configurations while you're DJing. So I think it's really cool. So if you have any questions about mapping controllers or anything else to do with Djay Pro AI, let me know in the comments. And if you want to learn more about DJing with the iPad and the future of DJing and the new controllers coming out, subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Thank you.